Hello, this is Juliana 2 of Viva Escrow. Welcome to my continued series on fraud threats to the consumer. With this presentation, I would like to talk about one of the most prevalent of all fraud threats, email fraud. Fraud is perpetuated by the fraudster, and this could be anyone, anywhere, committing a crime at any time. First, let's review some basics. What is the main function of the escrow? The escrow holder or the settlement agent or the stakeholder, we are the neutral and impartial third party with whom funds and documents are deposited in trust until mutually agreed upon instructions are met. What are our responsibilities? We handle the receipt in of funds to close, and we send out the proceeds of the sale. Funds can come in the form of personal or cashier's checks, or they can come in forms of bank wires, or they can come in financial instruments like a seller carryback note. We also handle the transfer of documents and data in the file. Now, these can be sent to us by giving us the original paper document or by sending the document electronically. When you go into escrow, the settlement agent takes responsibility for everything that is given to them: funds, documents, and information. We have to protect, preserve, and make sure that only the right parties are getting what is contracted to be theirs. Now let's talk about fraud. There are a few categories of fraud that we are worried about. First and foremost is wire fraud. This is the most worrisome of all frauds these last few years, and it was the first presentation of my series. Second, we have personal identity fraud. It is the most harmful because this is someone pretending to be you and doing things in your name and destroying your credibility. Check fraud is the most public, and email fraud is the most prevalent. Those emails that purportedly come from someone you know asking you to open an attachment, well, don't do it unless you verify. We are going to talk about fraud of this type in this session. Why is email fraud so worrisome? Email technology is the gateway to other types of fraud, like identity fraud and wire fraud. This is why it is so worrisome. Email deserves a very special distinction for being the first technology that we use to identify people, other people, but without using our basic senses. When we receive an email from a person, we're only loosely identifying that person because of the email address. We don't see the person's face. We don't hear the person's voice. It is secondhand identification that is treated like primary identification because of the convenience of its use. What are the pitfalls that occur when we rely on this type of loose identification? Here's our concerns. What if the email address is fake? What if someone hacks into an email address and impersonates them? What if someone hacks into my email address and impersonates me? So email fraud can be summed up as identity fraud in the information era. The term for impersonating someone else through fake emails is called phishing or spoofing. The person who is sending you that email is not who you think. Look at this example. On the from line, you hover over the email address. What matters is the email address that is shown below, where the red arrow is. Is this the right person, or is it someone totally different? Now, misspelled names. This is another trick that they practice, is by registering an email address that is as close as possible to the original real person's email address. This is very popular with Gmail and Yahoo public servers. Look at this example. Juliana@gmail.com is not Juliana@gmail.com. If you rush through this and you clicked on that email, oops. Make no assumptions. Even if you checked and the email address is correct, don't assume that the email really did come from the person you know. What if the person had forgotten to log out and someone snuck in and used their open email? What if the email was hacked and they didn't know? If the content is suspicious, do not open any attachments. Verify with the person first. A fraudster hacks into a real estate agent or an escrow professional's email and lies in wait. They monitor the email. They see the emails going back and forth about needing funds to be wired or instructions on how to wire them, and the fraudster immediately sits up and takes notice. They intercept the email with a wire notification, substitute their own, and the deed is done. He is a mole. If the person wiring the funds does not make that phone call to check the wire instructions, the money is gone. So, verify information independently. Trust no one. If this email looks suspicious, then anything in it becomes suspicious, including website links, mailing addresses, and phone numbers. Do not verify the information by using the information given in the email, because fake is fake. Call an original number given to you previously, or if it is a bank or a business, Google and find the number on the website. If you can't verify the information immediately, hold off on the request. Don't rush to open and perform the request. Slow down. The culture around work emails tend to be, if you are at your computer and a work email comes in, you must take care of it right away. This is one of the biggest risk factors when doing business by email. Everything is rush, rush, rush. Get it done. Slow down and review carefully. Question the email, especially when it seems odd. Trust your gut instinct. If your office has fraud prevention steps in place, follow them. Don't skip critical steps. Fraud prevention should always be adopting a better safe than sorry attitude. If your email gets hacked, how do you know? You don't. Normally, it takes a third party to call you and let you know. So what are the scenarios? Well, your password is changed and the fraudster blocked your access to your email. This is one way that is usually temporary, and you can correct this immediately and have your IT administrator perform recovery. Let's hope that you find out quickly before major damage is done. Or the fraudster knows your password and has been spying on you. They log in periodically and they set a forwarding address so that your email activity is remotely monitored at their location. This is how they can inject themselves into a legitimate transaction at the right time and perform a masquerade. What do you do if your email got hacked? Let your administrator know. Let your IT person know immediately. Time is of the essence. They can also contact proper authorities and cybercrime units. Change your password. Use a completely new, unique password. Review your email addresses and what information could have been stolen. Are there non-public personal information in your chain of email, like, for instance, a statement of information on a client or a 1003 loan application on a client? Your IT administrator should run a virus and a malware scan. Check your email settings for any unusual changes. Are there forwarding addresses that are unfamiliar? Look at those foreign email addresses. Are they familiar? Gather email activity logs and notifications. For instances, Messages like attempts to log in at a new location device message or email undeliverable message. This can help determine how long the breach was active. Be extra cautious in the immediate future. Fix the errors. Take extra precautions on sending out funds and electronic documents. You are now vulnerable. Prevention is the first step. Maintain proper email and web browsing habits. Implement more email security. Use two-factor authentication. Password and another key to the phone, or a code from a token or a fingerprint scanner. It may be inconvenient, but this is now the world that we live in. Unique passwords. Your email is your digital home. So if your password is not strong enough, all your information could be readily accessible in one hack. Look at your password as your house key. Don't use the same password on other websites. It is too easy for the fraudster if you use the same password on other sites, especially if the other sites have already been compromised. Don't transact personal business on work computers. Keep your personal communications and your business communications separate. Regularly run antivirus programs and sweep through your email and computer settings. Keep up with changing technology. Be aware of how technology can work for you and also against you. This includes your computer, as well as your smartphone, your laptop, all personal devices, and all of its applications. Here's some tips to live by. In summary, slow down. Question everything. Read carefully before you open your email. Schedule antivirus program sweeps consistently. Use strong passwords. Watch what websites you go on. Do not arbitrarily download anything from the internet. What other apps are downloaded to your phone and other personal devices? Is your phone connected to the programs at your business or your personal computer? Will one affect the other? Be sure you check out our full email fraud article at this link. We also have other articles, not only on other types of fraud, but at other educational materials at our website. Thank you, and I hope that you have found this presentation helpful. Be sure to pass it on to others who may benefit. Remember, if you have questions, we have answers. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and for being aware of fraud.